Namaste all. I welcome all of you to the session number 52 of Gurubodha. We have with us today Dr. M.B. Gururaja sir and Dr. Raghuram sir. I dedicate this and all of my works at the holy feet of Dr. H. Chandrasekhar Udupa. And this class is made exclusively available to Easy Ayurveda weekly classes subscriber. To if you are not subscribed yet, please go to easyayurveda.com/video classes. The first question is, in Kerala, there's a practice of boiling water with herbs like shunti, ushira, yestimadu, that is licorice, khadira, patimukam, chandana, anantmula, manjista, etc. So they change the herbs based on season, and this water is used for daily drinking. This is a practice based on Ayurveda. Please, can you cover which herb mixtures are best for which season and how to prepare these? Gururaja sir, there are too many questions. Can you please unpack this and explain it to us?
See, in Kerala, they are practicing this one as a routine practice of Daha Shamani, something like that. They use it. And the name itself suggests it is Daha Shamani. It will be directly concentrating on the Pitta effect or the concentrating it towards the Pitta effect on the body to nullify that. So it will, because of the greco-climatic conditions present prevailing in Kerala, based on that the practice is there. But when we go to Ayurveda, this practice is a very, very clear-cut type of practice, which we see in, there is a classical reference regarding this is a Paneeya. Paneeya Kalpana is there. There is Shadanga Paneeya. Similarly, there are a typical way of Kashayas we are using it. Paneeya Kalpana is very common, and even Kashaya Kalpana is also very common in Ayurveda. Of course, Paneeya Kalpana is readily drinkable with the more quantity of water compared to Kashaya Kalpana that is used. And in the very famous one is the Shadanga Paneeya. You might have heard that is a very basic reference. We'll find it in Jwara Chikitsa. Musta Parpata Ujitya, Ujira Chandana Nagarihi, Shutam Shitam Jalam Dadyat, Pipasa Jwarashantehe. Very clear statement they have made. It will suppress the Jwara as well as it quenches the Pipasa. And this contains 6 drugs and very popular, Shadanga Paneeya. And some of them are even Kapahara, Sangrahi, and even Agnivardhaka. All sort of drugs are combined together. And definitely, these practices not only there in Kerala, it can be even seen even in the hilly regions of Karnataka, also in the particularly in the Malnad section of Vishumukha, Hasan, and these areas, Chikmagalur. Very clearly, people practice these type of things. Depending upon the condition as well as the season, they prepare kashayas. And many times these kashayas are also converted into something like Ksheerapaka. They will make it called as a hal kashaya here in very commonly. So this is a very commonest practices, and we find such type of things all across India. Of course, different season, but in particularly the southern belt, particularly in Kerala and coastal Karnataka, these practices are comparatively much more prevailing than any other part of India.
It's a very common practice in even Kerala restaurants. They offer this jeera water, very good digestive and relieves bloating and probably whatever the soda, etc., baking soda, etc., that the restaurant may add. That will be kind of nullified with the cumin, which is added to water and served.
See, even if you go to Kerala, not only in hotels, they'll very clear-cut practice there. Even in the hostels, they give it, and when the drum will be separate, drum will be kept, and so happened. Once I have taken my students long back. I think you were seniors batch. I think I have taken them to Kerala trip. There in Thrissur, one of the colleges, they wanted to fill their water cans. They went and just put a can below the tap and they started filling it, and it came out red like this, and they were horrified with the scene. They ran back and asked, "Sir, it is coming with a red water. What is there?" So then I said, "This is a very clear practice in Kerala. You can take it. It's a plain water is also available. Otherwise, if there is anybody want to that Dashamani type of things, it contains herbal decoctions are there. You can take it." So that was the first experience for many of our students there. So it's a very clear practice in Kerala. We come across these type of things. And of course, some with just with the cumin, something with chandana, something with padimukam, sometimes with the Ushira, that is what they call it as a Ramacham in Malayalam. So all these are very common practices in Kerala.
Good evening, Raghuram sir. Please go ahead.
Great, sir. Good evening, Gururaja, sir. Wonderful explanation. I want to share a similar experience like Gururaja, sir, shared. Two experiences actually. Once I was at Koppa, so we have a common emotional relationship and bonding, myself and Dr. Herbal with Koppa, where we did our post-graduation studies, and I was also a teacher there. So I'm continuing as a teacher there. So those practices at those regions, Chikmagalur and Malnad regions, were not very familiar to me. Probably Herbal was very familiar with those things. When we came there, so initial days when I used to go to, I and some of my friends used to go to some small hotels also. They used to offer. So we here are used to have coffee and tea. More predominantly coffee at our home as a beverage. So they used to offer. So immediately after going, two things. So one is kashaya and another is buns. So they used to offer. So we used to get surprised. Kashaya, see, we have studied this kashaya in Ayurveda as one of the formulation which we prepare. Why these people are giving kashaya here? So gradually we came to know, so that Gururaja sir also mentioned hal kashaya. So it is processed in milk with some herbs, so which are seasonal, so which help in avoiding so we know in Malnad and Chikmagalur district and most of this time it will be monsoons, and to beat that monsoon effect and also some cold related problems, they prepare such recipes which are preventive of those disorders. That is why those people are very, very healthy in spite of getting regularly exposed to rains and other things. They know how to live there. So for us, it is totally new thing. So kashaya was the first, that was the first experience for me. Fine. The second experience was when I went to the tour, just like Gururaja sir said, with my students. The red water came into the question again. Any hotel you go, any restaurant you go, they used to get red water. So most of us did not know. Luckily, we had Kerala students with us. They introduced us to that water. They told me, sir, this is the first hotel we are visiting in Kerala. So that was my first visit to Kerala as well. So here we will be served with red water. That we call it as chukku vellam. So chukku is the shunti. So that is the ginger. So generally, people process, the people in Kerala, they process water with the chukku, that is shunti, and other ingredients also. Because chukku is a regular ingredient which is used in the cold season and in the monsoon season. Shunti, again, one of the perfect and one of the best herbs used for processing the water in Kerala practices, it is there. So one example from Karnataka, one example from Kerala, so many practices we have here, maybe in hilly region, as Gururaja sir said. As we try to explore these things, we get more examples of such processed water being served as a seasonal recipe and also as preventive for many disorders and many things. To add to this, I want to quote certain references from Charaka. So I think one of the question was, should it be moreover seasonal? We should see. So Rutucharya is one of the important concept explained in our, not only in Charaka, but also in Rutrayas and almost all the Samhitas. So when we go through the Rutucharya, so Charaka tells, Hemante Abhyastaha Toyam Ushnam. So he clearly tells when Hemanta Rutu comes, Abhyastaha. So he tells you have to make a practice of drinking hot water only. So here, it is very clearly mentioned. So in Hemanta Rutu, hot water should be used, and anything which nullifies the cold can be added to the hot water is an extended practice which we can do. So that is given in Charaka Sutra, chapter 6. Likewise, Swadu Sheetam Dravam Snigdam Annapanam Tadahitam Sheetam Sasharkaram Mantham. So these are mentioned in Grishma Rutucharya. See beautifully, Swadu Sheetam Dravam. So he clearly tells why in Grishma. So we have to see the dosha, doshas which are varying there in those particular seasons. Particularly, it has been mentioned, Hemanta and Shishira Rutu will go with a similar type of practice, Ushna Udaka. When we come to the Grishma Rutu, which is a hot summer, so there Swadu, Sheetam, Dravam, any liquid which you use should be Swadu. It can be processed with sweet ingredients like sweet herbs. So Madhura Rasa Pradhana Adravas can be used there. Sheetam, it should be cold because the season is hot. Snigdam, you can use a little bit of ghee and other things in the recipe while drinking that water. Anna Panam Tadahitam. So in Anna and Pana, both these things it can be used. Sheetam Sasharkaram Mantham. So again, Sir Sharkara Mantha should be used. So, which is also cold. So, cold recipes will be served there. Seasonal again. And again, Udamantam has been explained in Varsha Rutu and also Nadi Jalam. So, directly the river water can be taken, and also Udamanta water with Sattu, mixed with Sattu. So, the floor can be used in Varsha Rutu. So, then again, sticking to the Varsha Rutu, Pana Bhojana Samskaram Prayaha Kshaudranvitam Bajet. See, Pana Bhojana Samskaram for the drinks, water, and also any drinks you take and any food you take, they need to be processed, should have additional quantity of Kshaudra. So that is Madhu. So here, Madhu mixed with water is an important reference again in Varsha Rutu Charya. And coming to Mahendram, Tapta Sheetam Va Kaupam, just a minute. Sarasa Mevava. Okay, so Sarasa and Kaupa. So Sarasa is small lakes, ponds, those waters can be taken. And also Kaupa, so that is the well water can be taken. Mahendram, Tapta Shita. So here, and also the rainwater. In monsoon season, rainwater, well water, and also the water of the reservoirs like ponds and lakes can be taken. In what form? Some that is Tapta Shitam. Tapta Shitam, boiled and cold, it can be taken. So the processing the water has been mentioned almost everywhere. So again, going to this one, Sharad Rutucharya, again we get Hamsodaka. So again, Hamsodaka is a very important concept there. So where water is heated in the sun in the morning, that is exposed to the heat, and exposed to the cold again in the evening. So this nullifies the bad effects of the water. And also there is Agastya Nakshatra at that particular time. They all combinedly purify the water. So again, the nature itself is processing. And very important reference I want to quote is from Charaka Sutrasthana chapter 27. So where Charaka tells, Snigdam Ushnam Marute, very clear. When there is Vata increase or Vata disorders are being handled, or Vata seasons when we are handling, Snigdam Ushna. So the rule is Snigda Ushna, hot water with a little bit of ghee or something, so or hot beverages with Snigda, so with Snehamsa shall be used. Shastam, Pitte Maduram Sheetalam. So it is very common. So when there is Pitta, like when we go to Sharad Rutu, or Pitta, high Pitta, or Pitta disorders, whenever we are taking, the water shall be processed with, water and food shall be processed with Madura Sheetalam. So sweet herbs and also those which carry the sweet attributes or the sweet qualities. Kafe Anupanam Ruksham. So in Kapha when we are using, so it should be Ruksha. Ruksha Dravya shall be used. So Charaka clearly tells. So this rule, it is not specific to the question what has been asked by somebody here, the topic of discussion, but it is a general rule. There are some general rules explained somewhere else in the chapters. We need to extract those references and use them according to the context. This is a general reference which we can use everywhere, and very important reference for all those who are attending the webinar is go to Charaka Sutrasthana chapter 27 and experience reading the Jalavarga there. So Jalavarga. So such a beautiful explanation by Charaka. The nature itself modulates the water. The nature itself modulates the water. There Charaka tells Shishira Rutu, what is the nature of water? Varsha Rutu, what is the nature of water? Grishma Rutu, Sharad Rutu, what is the nature of water according to the season itself? The season itself creates such properties in the water that they are seasonally compatible. So nature itself, the season itself is modulating the properties of water. So there are natural processes, artificial processes, man-made processes, additions, deletions, processing, samskara, all those things. But ultimately water is an important component of our health and also for our existence, for our living. So according to the situation, according to the yukti. So finally I would tell, according to the yukti and also to the practices. Yukti is skillful application of our knowledge, and also situational application of our knowledge, and also which has descended through the practices. We shall add all that knowledge because water is an essential part throughout the day. When we see what we are taking maximum is water in any form. So we should be very careful with water, seeing that there are many waterborne diseases also. So these are the points I want to add. Thank you.
See, we need to understand certain things here. Acharya Charaka has very clearly said about these things, what are the qualities of Jala and at its a particular season and all those things. But presently we are living in 21st century. We are not have a no opportunity or even to consume these type of or a liberty to consume the water from the Tataka, Kupa, or Sarasa and these areas.
Absolutely. This can be only the clinical. Yes, sir. This sorry to interrupt. This can be on the classical references. I thoroughly agree with you. So at last, that is why I pointed out, because we have waterborne diseases. So we need to be very very cautious. Water, milk, or whatever we are taking, they need to go under the hammer of processing. Right, sir.
It's a lot of intervention by the humans in various forms that it is they spoil the quality of water to a large extent. And now the water is being served all over the globe in various type of containers, including plastic bottles. They are said to be as a mineral water, but God only knows what mineral it is present in that. It is whether it is artificially added or it is naturally occurring. And we don't know that presently it has become a status for many of us that use reverse osmosis water for drinking, and it has its own bad effects. But unfortunately, we have got lot of things which comes in the way, maybe because of the knowledge what we human beings gained from many of the advantage of the sciences. But still, practices to be understood that what our acharyas or charaka or whatever, whoever maybe the people they have experienced a lifetime, they have written it. If you want to have the effect of that particular manner, then it is better try to cope up in such a manner that the procedures as well as the ingredients to be very near to the what acharyas have said. So it is our duty that we need to understand that thinking that jala will have these qualities, and we are drinking a jala which is purified through so many processes and chlorine is added and even reverse osmosis and boiled and so many things, then suspended particles are very less, something like that, and in the hardener, sweetener, so many things are there nowadays in water. So with keeping all these things in mind, it is simple tap water we can consider for a time being. Of course, many of the places it may be different things. Whatever the source of water we get it accordingly. It needs to be boiled first, filtered, then accordingly this herbs can be added and boiled, then filtered. In that also there are a lot of issues are there. How to boil, how much to boil. There is ardhavashesha, padavashesha, astavashesha. So 1/8 to the level of the original quantity or half of the original quantity, like that. There are plenty of issues are there. But simply, if it is to be taken as a Paneeya Kalpana, better take it in as a very diluted form, but containing some content which is very much easily soluble in water. So we need to add such type of drugs into that depending upon the season as well as the requirement. The things are being added, and but this Kalpana is definitely a game changer when all these drugs are boiled in water, and of course then definitely that water will be boiled one, and chances of getting any no vectors, I mean organisms which might cause disease through the water or unboiled water, that can be avoided. So with these words I say that boiling technique with the water, some of the herbs, is definitely a good practice, and definitely we can adopt according to the our needs and requirements and resources available for us.
Thank you. There. So one point is that it has become so, at least in the Indian conditions, it has become so very important to boil the water and cool it. So we were using electronically filtered and RO-ish water, which is purported to be very healthy and it will take care of 98% of germs. But we ourselves, were getting repeated tonsillitis and feeling unhealthy, throat irritation, etc. So we just switched on to boil and cool water. Probably that is safest thing to go. And another thing, rightly you pointed out, these bottled waters, they will show like mountains, and then they'll show all these minerals in their pictures, but it will be like in the US there was a big study, and in the US, right, tap water is potable. In Europe, most of the Europe and this one. So in somewhere in the small font, they'll write that it's just tap water bottle. I mean, when we drink it, it feels as if we are drinking fresh from the Himalayan mountains, coming right out with all the enriched with minerals and whatnot. Raghuram sir, please.
Yeah, so good points added by Gururaja sir and the Herbal sir again. So to be there, so again, according to the diseases also, when we go through the different disease chapters, so there we can find one example was given by Gururaja sir about Shadanga Paniya. So similarly, so many references we can find throughout the Samhitas. So be it the Chukkuvellam or the Hal Kashaya or whatever things we are using, so they are the man-made remedies for the man-made mistakes. So we are preparing our own remedies for our own mistakes, pragnaparada, whatever we are doing, we are contaminating the water, we are dumping what not, and water is the big scare. So water is the big panic point when we, especially when we are traveling. So whatever we forget, first we will see if we are carrying water. So that is very important. How we are cautious about water. Drink water anywhere outside. You are definitely susceptible for one or the other problems. This has become a water episode. Like today's episode is moreover with water. So it is good for all of us to be aware about water. So all of us are aware. So but nothing is pure. So we need to take care of our water, especially while traveling. So keeping in mind that nothing is safe. Bottled water again. So I don't know whether it is a reality or a myth, and how much pure water does it contain. So yes, so these things we need to. So before uh, manufacturing many more remedies for our own mistakes, we should stop doing the man-made mistakes. The biggest awareness is protect waters and also save water and also save the purity of water. Don't dump anything into the water. So because it is a most essential element. Thank you.
And I wanted to add a few points relating processing of herbs with water. First one is herbs with water. There are like basic ways in which Ayurveda recommends processing. One is that Paneeya Kalpana, where one part of herb is added with 64 parts of water. So very dilute when compared to Kashaya, which is one part of herb and 8 or 16 parts of water. So here in the Paneeya itself means like drink or potable or something which is consumed multiple times in a day. And then it is boiled and reduced to only half. And that is filtered and used. So whereas in Kashaya, we boil it to a quarter or 1/8 or 1/16, also based on the needs. So it is kind of a diluted form of Kashaya meant for administration multiple times in a day. As pointed out by Gururaja sir, it's Charanga Paniya, which is frequently used in the treatment of fever. So where the Vegas keep on coming up, so there needs to be something which is taken multiple times in a day to keep this Vega of diseases. Like in case of fever, rise of temperature, or in case of hiccups or vomiting, etc., which keeps on happening multiple times in a day. This is useful. And next is Himar cold infusion, where herbs coarse powder of herb is added with 6 parts of water, cold water that is kept overnight, filter and consume. A very famous one is Daneka Himar, coriander, used for relieving thirst and burning sensation associated with fever. A very famous one. It's consumed along with sugar there. So sugar is explained as Anupana. Third one is where the Kerala practices and other things are come, which is a variety or variant of Phanta. So here herb is added with 4 parts of hot water. It's hot water that is used here, and then filtered and it's used. So I mean, Dira water, which is famous in Kerala and Padimukam, and varieties of water, they mostly prepare with this method. Half a teaspoon of cumin fine powder, in this case of Dira water. Dira means cumin. So that is added to 1 liter of boiled water, which is still warm, and which is which is bottled or stored, and that is served multiple times in a day. So that is not filtered, but it is kind of a Fanta form. Somebody asked regarding the milk with water, can it be used continuously, or can it, how to use that and all. Milk with the herbs is processed in a formulation called as dosage form called as Ksheerapaka. We have discussed this many times in weekly classes. So there are 2 formulas basically: herbs plus 8 parts of milk plus 32 parts of water. So this extra water is added so that it gives time for the herbs to get infused into the milk medium. So all the water is evaporated and only milk remains, and that is filtered and served. Or there is another reference of like 15 parts of milk, herbs added with 15 parts of milk and 15 parts of water, boil till only the milk remains, filter and use. This is famously used with bhallataka or martinet or garlic, long pepper, etc. Usually to add the beneficial effects of milk, of its soothing and cooling and its healing properties, and also to reduce the pungency and hotness of all these. Uh, so, uh, Raghuram sir, please.
Yeah, one more extended version of the discussion. So whatever we are discussing, as you rightly mentioned, Dr. Herbal. So the Phanta, Panchakola Phanta, which has been mentioned in the Amavata Prakarana. So most of the practices in the initial part of the Amavata. So Panchakola Phanta helps in very much relieving. So Panchakola can be used with Pana, Anna, everything to process the water, to process the beverages, whatever we are drinking, and also to process the food. So Panchakola, so I think it works in a similar way. So until the Ama is digested and Nirama Lakshanas are found, in Amavata it can be used. And in whatever conditions Ama is there, so we can use Panchakola Phanta. So that is one reference which we have. So which plugs into the today's discussion. Extending this particular part, as we are discussing about the processed waters. So Kashaya is also a form wherein we add some herbs, boil it, and reduce to a particular quantity. So as a Vyadhi Pratanika Chikitsa, so or a Vyadhi Pratanika remedy, or as a preventive measure, or also as a curative measure, mainly pertaining to the seasonal issues, seasonal problems. So we can train our patients or train our clients, so those who are regularly exposed to seasonal disorders, like in the Rutu Sandhi itself, in the junctional period of the Rutu, try taking those kashayas. So, for example, those people who are having a acute exacerbation of asthma or bronchitis or asthmatic bronchitis or ashwasa, whatever we can call it as in Vasanta Rutu, due to the increase of kapha. So just before the onset of Vasanta Rutu, we can ask them to take to have the herbs which are swasahara, process it with water and take throughout the season. So once they start before the season onsets, so it can act as a preventive, and also if they are susceptible to those health issues, so they can also balance the symptoms. If they already have an active disease, it will help in the relief of the symptoms. We can generally bring it into practice. I generally do that. So for seasonal disorders and for those disorders which keep repeating and recurring, in these disorders we can think about using these kashayas. So like nowadays we know that the best way of preparing kashaya will be processing the powder. So that is the churna or the slakshna churna, or whatever is available. The churnas, kashaya churnas are also available. The bottled kashayas are available. Kashaya churnas are also available. I found more result with the kashaya churna when the patient has time and patience to boil that kashaya churna with water and prepare it in a classical way, filter it and take every time. The effect is more than the bottled kashayas which are marketed by the pharmacists. So that is my observance. In most of the cases where the patient has religiously followed the rules and regulations and the instructions given by the doctor, that is myself, so they have found more results. So the same kashaya which we were using in a bottled form and which we are using in a prepared form, we are preparing. We get that what sense of being healthy because we are preparing our own medicine and taking it. So this can be extended to this particular part of study. So where the processed waters are used for in the form of kashayams or in the form of panta in the seasonal junctions, that is the Rutu Sandhi period or during the Rutu, to manage the symptoms or to prevent the exacerbation or prevent the recurrences of the diseases. We can extend this particular discussion to that part also clinically. Thank you.
So somebody has asked, is there like there is Suvarna Siddha Jala? Is it also beneficial to boil water with a pure silver piece in it? Or is this practice just exclusive to boiling water with pure gold piece only? So there are two ways. One is putting a piece of gold or silver or any metal based on the qualities that we desire into the vessel. And also there is another way in which the vessel itself is made up of silver or gold, or at least the inner coating of the vessel is given with silver or gold, and that is given. Our Professor Ranga Prasad has written an article which I've shared in that there are, benefits of different things that are explained. Let me just quickly share that. So these references are from Ayurveda Mahodadhi. So, for example, water in golden vessels, stored or boiled, whichever, sweet in taste. Madhara Vipaka balances all the three doshas, Viryakara, Balakara, Medhakara, Shubha, it's explained. Whereas in tin vessel, it is sticky, sweet, Kapha dosha increasing. In the brass, it is pungent and heavy and increases kapha and pitta maybe, and in copper it is hot, sweet, slightly pungent, etc. So these can be used based on prakriti or based on the dosha involved in a disease or based on seasons as well. Gururaja sir, your comments are there, please.
See, first of all, we need to understand the Ayurvedic preachings in two ways. One is what and all acharyas have preached. It was existing in those days very typically. But when we are trying to implement those things in the present situation, we need to just make it Yuganu Rupi. We need to understand this. See, presently, whenever whatever the water I get it, if I put it in the particular type of vessels, then it's going to turn out to be of that quality. No, it is not like that. It should be understood in such a manner that clean boiled water, after that process of cooling, then kept in that particular vessel or boiled in that vessel for second time, then we may get certain chances. But otherwise, many a times, presently in many of the people, they'll be exposed to borewell water, or even their cities or corporations or townships are provided with borewell water rather than a river water. Then all those qualities definitely will be there with that. Taste will be changed depending upon the suspended particles or dissolved particles in it. So our point is try to get water which is as clean as possible. That is point number one. Then boil it and filter it. Then later use it by adding some herbs to that. Boil it for some time, or maybe for ardhavashesha, or little something like that, or boil it for a few minutes. Then in a particular vessel, if you take it, then we can expect all those qualities described in the classical text. Whenever the herbs needs to be added to that, we need to understand that what herb we are adding. Particularly, I practice in case of liver disorder where ascites and system things are there. I give pipali churna to my patient and ask them to boil in milk, and I will make it as a pipali churna in kshira, and that is allowed to be taken. So that will definitely help them to improve their liver functions. Similarly, that type of things we do it in case of jwara with maricha in milk. So similarly, in the such type of qualities, we do it in case of ballataka, kira, lachuna, as well as arjuna. So these type of combinations, when we make it, it's called as Ksheerapaka type of techniques, and these purely water-based content. We need to understand another point also. Usually, a potable drinking water, neat water from the real sources, not contaminated, will be having a pH very close to the neutral value. But once we boil it, it slightly becomes acidic. That's the reason we add so many drinks which after boiling turn towards that water to slightly alkaline, because a partially alkaline or slightly alkaline water is always good to the body. That point we need to consider. So that's why you observe that all thicker dravyas and katura dravyas are added to this to boil it. So that will give you support in that sense also.
Thank you, sir. And moving on to the next topic. Can we plan unseasonal Panchakarma in preconception detox case, or in a healthy person to maintain his health positively, or it should be strictly planned according to Rutu? So to explain the question in a little bit more, this will first go to Dr. Raghuram, sir. Uh, I mean, couple have just got married and they are planning for a baby in 6 months, maybe. So, Vajikarana Chikisa is explained. Probably, that needs to be this Vajikana Chikitsa ahead of planning for conception should be more popularized because it helps a lot. So in that, if you are planning Panchakarma ahead of Vajikarna Chikitsa, that should be done as per season only or unseasonally or irrespective of season, because there is Rushya Chikitsa is to be done. Panchakarma can be done without that, without considering the season. And second question is, for healthy people, if you are doing seasonal Panchakarma, can it be done unseasonally? Please.
So here a lot of splits in the question. So I would like to explain stepwise here. Coming to the planning of conception, yes. So here, if the couple are planning to take the Vajikarna Chikitsa, as we know, for Rasayana and Vajikarna to work in the best possible way to have a greater impact and to give good results. The Panchakarma or the Shodhana Prakriyas before these therapies are not obligatory, but they are mandatory. So there is also a type of rasayana which can be taken on a regular basis, Vatatapika rasayana. Vajikarana dravyas are also taken very regularly. People don't even go to the doctors. They Google, just find some medicines for conception if they're not able to conceive, and start taking it straight away. So that might not be effective or a healthy practice. So to go through the scanner of a doctor is very, very important to take a shodhana. So where does this Panchakarma come into the role for the people who are planning a conception? Okay, so if you can conceive it naturally, you don't need, if there are some problems, so like if there are some problems in the previous generations of the boy or a girl or the man or a woman who are trying to conceive, like the children born in their families had some problems after the birth, so they can take caution and come to, so as a precaution, take detox treatment or the Panchakarma treatment before the conception. Otherwise, as a general rule, if they are very sexually active and they can reproduce, they can produce the offspring, so they no problems with the sexual health in both male and female, they can go ahead naturally instead of consuming the Vajikarna. So that is one thing. So coming to the seasonal or unseasonal aspect, anyhow, the couple planning for conception will be planning in one or the other season. In one or the other season, they will be planning. So if it is a kapha increase season like Vasanta Rutu, or a pitta increase season like a Sharad Rutu, or a vata increase season like a Varsha Rutu, if they want to take a detox, so because those doshas will be naturally in a higher way, so in pathological aspects they will be in a very higher scale. In physiological levels, they will be somewhat disturbed in almost all, as a universal rule. If they want to go for a detox, they can go for a seasonal detox at that particular time. So because they're anyhow, the planning of conception comes in one or the other rutus itself in the calendar. Shishira, Vasanta, Grishma, Varsha, Sharat, Hemanta, somewhere in a year they have to plan the conception. So if it plugs into the seasons where there is high aggravation, natural aggravation of doshas, and they have a tendency, very important, the couple have, one of the couple or both have a tendency to develop dosha related problems, they can take a consultation of the doctor and take a detox as well. So coming to what is the next question? Can we plan unseasonal Panchakarma? Unseasonal Panchakarma. So I don't know what is unseasonal Panchakarma. Okay, so it can be.
It is for healthy people.
No, unseasonal is Dr. Herbal.
If there is no disease.
No. This I think Dr. Herbal, the question is: can we plan unseasonal Panchakarma in pre-conception detox? Unseasonal Panchakarma or seasonal Panchakarma? I have set the rules. If they are planning a conception in the seasons which are fit for taking the Panchakarma, and if they have a susceptibility to develop certain diseases, dosha related diseases, or if they are finding doshotklesha in them, they want to get rid of that, provided they have tried already and they are not able to conceive. Okay, so there are some, and they have some family issues. If all these conditions come, they can take a seasonal detox. Otherwise, healthy natural process of conception is done. Now, when we come to unseasonal, the seasons where Panchakarma is not so much recommended. So, can it be done in unseason? Yes, see, if it is Panchakarma always applies like any other therapy, depends on the nature of the problem and also whether it is gravely necessary or not. If it is necessary, we will not wait for any season. Like there is a kapha vyadi in Sharadrutu. So generally we give treatment like kapha chikitsa, like vamana therapy is generally indicated to be done in the kapha aggravating the seasons like Vasanta Rutu. What if kapha aggravation is seen in Varsha Rutu? It is unseason for kapha. What if kapha aggravation is seen in Sharad Rutu? It is unseason, or in Shishira Rutu, unseason. Yes, but if the same kapha is tending to, there is kapha aggravation and it is trying to produce some problem, it is triggering some symptoms, and shodhana need to be given there. It needs to be given. Again, the mrudu shodhana, madhyama shodhana, and tivra shodhana or ati shuddhi. So whatever is needed, we need to make a choice there. That also comes into the play. So in seasons, we can give pravara shuddhi. I think in off seasons where Panchakarma is needed as a mandatory procedure and we cannot avoid it at all. So then mild to moderate, mrudu to madhya shodhana can be planned. And when it comes to healthy person, again, the same rule is applicable. Why does a healthy person go on to take Panchakarma? So why does a person having a balanced pitta take virechana? Why does a person having a balanced kapha take vamana, or a balanced vata take vasti? So this is a question. Healthy person, where they should be taking. Again, if they have the susceptibility, seasonal susceptibility of the problem. So even in a healthy person, in Vasanta Rutu, there is a tendency, there is no kapha aggravation, there is a tendency for the kapha to aggravate because it is a general rule. If that person wants to take vamana as a caution, or if again there are so many kapha related problems in and around his family, he is also susceptible, he or she is susceptible to get a kapha problem. And Vasanta Rutu is approaching, and the person has a fear that I am a healthy person by parameters, but because it is a season, I may develop kapha related problems. The person who is knowing Ayurveda, so may consult Ayurvedic doctor and take an opinion. Vasanta Rutu is coming, the spring season is coming. Can I take a Vamana course? I am healthy. So by all parameters and by all investigations, by my health, the standards of health, physically, mentally, emotionally, always I am healthy. But I have a tendency for aggravation of kapha here and there, seasonal aggravation especially, and I have some history of family problems related to kapha. Can I go ahead and take Vamana in that particular season? Yes, that is welcome for a healthy person. Can take Panchakarma measures in the seasons which are susceptible for the dosha increase or abnormal increase, and if they have susceptibility, they can go ahead. Otherwise, the healthy person's having a normal balanced vata, pitta, and kapha, so need not go for. So it becomes an obsession. So rather than taking a treatment, it doesn't become a priority there. So it will. I think the important factor which plays the role here will be the physician. The physician to take a call after thoroughly examining the patient or the person who is a healthy person, after evaluating the status of vata, pitta, and kapha, or the dual combinations or whatever it is there, to decide whether this particular person needs a shodhana or not. So there are walk-ins now. There are so many hospitals where people walk in. So people are conducting the therapies. So like the seasonal therapies, the ad is given. So like Vasanta, Vamana therapy is done. So person will walk into the clinic, not at all take consultation with the doctor. So I am here to make use of this offer, that is Vamana Karma, because discount was there, I will take the Vamana. So the hospital provides Vamana. This is not a healthy practice. Going under the scanner and hammer of the physician's table, getting the approval of the doctor and also the signature of the doctor for that particular therapy is recommended, be it seasonal or unseasonal. Doctor becomes a determinant factor here. I think I have addressed all the sub questions here.
Question to Gururaja sir. So you treat a lot of infertility cases, a lot, and you share your success stories, etc. do you ever plan this preconceptual or preconception Vajikarana Chikitsa, or do patients come or do you educate and practice?
To be frank with you, theory is different, practice is different. In practice, usually the people approach me, what I have seen, when they have real problems. Sir, we have married since 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. There is no issues, no kids. So that's the reason they have come to me. Then I thoroughly examine them by taking all the history part of it and all the reports, and then examine them and then take questionnaires. Then later I'll find it out who is having problem, whether it is a male partner is having problem or a female partner is having problem. Accordingly, then go for the treatment. This is the usual protocol. Then many a times it so happens is that the patient before coming to us, they have already ventured into the other system of medicine. They have taken a lot of injections, they have taken a lot of medication therapies, and they have spent a lot of amount. They'll be somewhat in a frustration to spend more amount on that. They want to just to try out. That type of people also will come. So when all these parameters, if you observe, what I suggest is that whenever a patient approaches us for this, he should have a pre-knowledge about the this preconceptional cleansing and all those things. If they have this concept in their mind, definitely soon after marriage or before they're ready to get married, they'll approach, sir, I'm going to get married in the month of May, let me have this thing. So when such approaches are there, then also we need to assess their doshas in the body accordingly. Then that condition is patient doesn't have any problem as such now, but he is with a precaution or for the future understanding, he is trying to go for a good quality of semen or good quality of bija that needs to be taken care of. For that purpose, he is interested to go for a cleansing. So in such a situation, just there is no disease, just we need to analyze it. Then accordingly, whichever the doshic involvement is there, for what purpose we are giving, and what is the season it is supporting us, those two things to be taken care of. Then accordingly decide the planning of Panchakarma, what is to be done, whether it is Vamana should be done or Virechana should be done or Basti should be given. Plan accordingly. And moreover, we need to understand two things. One is Bhumi Desha, the other one is Atura Desha. Atura Desha is totally, if we know about our system and the way of living and influences of drugs and herbs on our body. So we have taken all the care according to the season. So there is no doshic imbalance in our body. But still, we cannot run away from the effect of Atura Desha, Bhumi Desha, that is season as well as Kala. So season and Kala will definitely have its own effect on our body. Lakshanas of in changes or imbalances in the doshas will do occur, even though you are taken care of part of food and nutrition and part of sleep and dhyana, so many things you might have done. But still, influence of time and season will be there. You cannot run away from that. So definitely there will be variations or imbalances in the dosha. So one need to understand that. So preconceptional marriage, before that, we can go for a cleansing. In that cleansing also, depending upon the dosha in their body assessment, then season which is supporting, accordingly we can plan it. It may be Virechana, it may be Vamana, it may be all the three, depending upon the availability and the person is interested and whether is Yogya for all those purposes. Once we decided, is a Vamana Yogya Purusha, is a Virechana Yogya Purusha, and everything, if it is confirmed, then we'll go for that. That is part number one. Second thing, whether for a unseasonal we can do it, definitely. When there is a disease, there is no question of any season. We are treating the disease of that person, then we are trying to analyze the dosha imbalance in the body. If there is a Bhu dosha, accordingly, whichever the Bhu dosha lakshanas are there, we finalize this is the dosha is increased and we need to reduce the particular dosha through shodhana chikitsa. Then comes the change. Whichever the kapha is increased, then we'll go for Vamana. If pitta is increased, then we go for Virechana. If vata is increased, then we'll go for Basti. Like that, we will plan the treatment protocol. And in a healthy person, why we need to do Panchakarma? Because cumulative toxicity depositions in the body can be avoided by doing seasonal cleansing. So that needs to be done according to the season and Ritu. If a person is for the future perspective is thinking and is taking a treatment on Panchakarma, in that situation, he needs to undergo Vamana in Vasanta Ritu, Virechana in Sharad Ritu, Basti in Varsha Ritu, like that only according to the season only one has to go with that. So this is what I usually practice.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Shilpa, please. Do you have any comments to make?
Yes, sir. Namaste to all the Vaidyas. I have completed my Garbha Samskara training in Garbha Vijnana Anusandhana Kendra, Jamnagar, and I have also done an online course from UAS, Bangalore. So, with that background, I would like to add few points about the preconceptional shodhana, what we need to do, why we need to do. So actual thing before was like we used to be healthy. Our ahara vihara used to be according to Ayurvedic principles. Our all ancestors used to follow these principles. It was in our traditional itself. It was included. Hence, there was no much need of these shodhanas. But we in present situation see that first of all, infertility is a problem, as rightly mentioned by Sir. Infertility is a big issue nowadays. And if one gets pregnant too, there are a lot of issues during the pregnancy period, lot of complications in the delivery. So we see a lot of issues throughout the pregnancy. So in order to avoid this, preconceptional shodhana is a very good thing that has to be done by all the couples. So what we say in that is bija shuddhi. So shonita, that is ovum as well as sperm, both has to be done shodhana. So the best way is undergoing shodhana by both the partners. So what we suggest in Garbha Samskara is at least to approach 3 months before they are planning, so that we can plan whatever shodhanas that are suitable for both the partners. For male partners, it will be usually Vamana Virechana, whichever is needed, along with Basti. And for female partners, along with Vamana Virechana Basti, we also suggest in specific Uttara Basti for Garbhashaya Shodhana. So one thing we see is reduced number of complications. Along with that, a healthy child in all the aspects, physical, mental, emotional. So all the aspects will be taken care of. And rather than making the child more immune after the birth, the child will be immune with birth itself. So we see lot of changes in the child which has been conceived with Garbha Samskara. All these things have been very scientifically documented in Jamnagar, in the center where we had undergone this training. And they had also documented the cases of hemophilia. It is a region where hemophilia was very much prevalent. And the cases where they did Panchakarma and then the couples conceived, even the first child, if it was hemophilic, the second child was free from hemophilia. So all these kinds of even the genetic disorders could have been avoided if this kind of a shodhana was planned in the preconceptional period. So now I am practicing Garbha Samskara and I have seen the results, wonderful results with it. A few of my circles, friends, and even the families which have undergone have suggested to others, and they have been undergoing this preconceptional shodhana, even though they do not have any issues. Soon after they want to conceive, they come to me and they get this shodhana done. After that, they follow the Rasayana Vajikarana Chikitsa, then only they go for conception. And I'm finding very good results with it. So I do suggest that preconceptional shodhana is a must for nowadays couples.
Thank you for very valuable inputs there. Raghuram sir, 2 minutes for you to comment on this, then we have another case study.
Fine, fine. Question to Shilpaji. Wonderful studies there and wonderful practice there, Shilpaji. So thanks for updates. So, but one question. So you said for all the couples, it is good to take the Garbha, that is Garbha Samskaras and also the Bija Shuddhi Samskara, whatever it is there. So if it is for all couples, then what is the exclusion criteria there? So in any study or any patient included under the study or person included under the study, we need certain exclusion criteria. If you are mentioning all the couples, so where is the exclusion criteria? Number one. So you have also mentioned another word called as Bija Shuddhi. So does it pertain to those who are having Ashuddha Bija only should be taken into these samskaras, or as you said, the other part? So I think these two are contradicting. That's why I got a question here.
Yes, sir. I would like to clarify. Thank you. Sir, actually, as I was mentioning in the introduction itself, previously we used to follow hara viharas very properly, and our routine and lifestyle was also according, at least according to Ayurveda, or according to healthy ways of living. But nowadays we are seeing that the life is stressful. The aharas, even they are very much with the artificial colors, flavors, and even the routine has changed a lot, due to which some vitiation will be there in the couples, what we see. So
So
in
would
that
we
aspect, we can take that there will be some dosha vaishamya, due to which there may not be actual bija shuddhi in the ways of genetic or something, but at least there will be general imbalance in the doshas. So to balance that doshas, they will need panchakarma.
okay? Thank you,
Uh,
Shilpa. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the last question of the day. So, how to manage diabetes in 75-year-old woman, 74-year-old woman with high creatinine and on medication for diabetes, high blood pressure, heart arrhythmia, osteopenia, rheumatoid arthritis, thyroid complications for hypothyroidism, anemia, and she's on antidepressant as well. Her daughter came to me with her mom's diabetes only. So probably she has all these complaints, but has come for diabetes. Uh, Gururaja sir, do you have any tips on approaching this complex case? Usually, I mean, we are blessed with patients who come with multiple complications, but they want us to focus on only one. So, how to go about it in this case?
So very clearly, a lady with 75 years of with diabetes. So in this history, we don't know since how many years she is suffering from diabetes, and it is said that with the creatinine high number. So when creatinine is high, means she is already in chronic renal failure or something like that. So renal issues are already arise, and she also has a blood pressure, and definitely she is on a lot of medication. So if anything she requires from Ayurveda towards diabetic, means there are plenty of medications can be done. Particularly, we have Nisha Katakadi Kashaya or Madhumeha Rakwata. Both can be used in this condition. And I think it won't come in the way of any of these diseases or comorbidities what she has, and it is not going to do any untoward incidents or adverse effects on that. So these are the two important things we can use in this lady. Either it is a Nisha Katakadi Kashaya or Madhumeha Rakwata. Both can be used, that anyone can be used according to the thing. If you know our body weight and Agni and all those things, then even precise dosing can also be done.